Thank you for joining me for the ancient discipline of silence. The tongue is but 3 inches long, yet it can kill a man 6 feet high. That is an old, ancient Japanese proverb. Approximately 2,500 years ago, Pythagoras instituted the discipline of silence in the Western world. This discipline was firmly imposed at his school at Crotona, where most students were not permitted to speak at any time. The lesser grades went through a 3-year discipline of silence, while those individuals who passed to the higher grades within the school were required to complete a life of silence for 5 years. They could only listen and not speak. Writings from other philosophers of that period revealed that more than 200 people, which included 60 women, underwent what we might consider this extreme discipline while they received instruction at Pythagoras' school. Today in schools, silently listening would be remarkable. When you really think about it, in the higher grades, some students can't even go 30 minutes before they start lecturing the teacher and all of their fellow classmates in the finer aspects of philosophy, science, politics, and what's going on in the world. Today, to indulge in a practice of complete silence would undoubtedly cause a lot of complications. Now, the basic principle behind Pythagoras' discipline of silence had to do with the fact that of all the parts that make up a person, the most difficult to control is the tongue. The tongue can be the greatest cause of people's tragedy, as well as the greatest danger and difficulty in an individual's own life. This habit of discipline was one of the major tenets taught in the ancient schools of learning. It was not just the discipline of paying attention or following rules. It was an effort to discipline one's own self. Today, some individuals who become ill have brought their illness upon themselves due to their habits and actions that they don't appear to be able to control. People know that the action is contrary to a belief that they have, which ends up causing them mental and emotional consternation. Or people will eat foods that they know might not be healthy for their own body, but they do it anyway. Both of these cause a breakdown in the healthy activity of the body. Some of us can't seem to get a hold of ourselves to stop what we are doing. We find it much easier to get in the habit of taking a pill or medication once or twice a day, but not so easy to discipline our mind to stop some unwanted activity that we know we shouldn't be doing. The original discipline of silence was meant to discipline the speech, and in this case, to become more thoughtful and control the tongue under every mood, every condition. Whether an individual was experiencing happiness or sadness, success or failure, anger or peace. When our tongue is controlled by wisdom and understanding, we will find that we can control many other areas of our life, including our health and our well-being. Many of the difficulties in our life are due to the fact that we just speak too quickly. We often make statements without deeper consideration. We pass judgments without any understanding of the context in which someone is acting in their life. To engage in the complete discipline of silence today might just be impossible for anyone except a hermit. But as a practice, we can begin to place certain restrictions upon ourselves. We might learn to listen rather than immediately begin to speak. Perhaps we will discover that others have something of value in what they are sharing before we just attempt to dominate a conversation we're involved in. Through this disciplined action of holding our tongue, we begin to gain more mastery over ourselves. There are times that we come under a feeling of great pressure to speak, but when we can restrict an outburst, we strengthen our character. Pythagoras pointed out that the 5-year silence freed the individual to receive knowledge. It was another philosopher who shared that the practice of the discipline of silence by the individual was sparing him the constant hypnotic influence of his own pretensions. Many of us have experienced times that we spoke without thinking carefully and later wished we could take our words back. But as a wise philosopher of the past said, words become like little immortal birds that fly out, and we know not where they go, nor can we bring them back. 500 years after Pythagoras, the discipline of silence was deliberately and voluntarily assumed by one of the great scholar and philosophers, Apollonius of Tyana. Now, many wonderful stories are attributed to the abilities of Apollonius during his life. His powers of observation, his understanding of the deeper meanings of all religions and creeds of his time, his control of nature, were all enhanced as a result of his discipline. Individuals may cross our paths with health difficulties and life challenges. Most of it is brought upon people by their own actions and activities. Today, people expect a quick fix, the magical pill, systems and mantras that will rectify their immediate problem, their health condition. But health is not the absence of illness. It is the absence of causes that might lead to illness. 1 minute you are perfectly healthy, and the next minute you might be ill. So you are realistically only healthy for one moment. Our lack of control in some area of our life might bring another difficulty right behind the one we have just addressed. When causes of disease are eliminated, then we can live in a peaceful knowledge that we are truly healthy and under our own control. Developing discipline within oneself is a key that the ancient philosophers taught to individuals to help them attain the greatest awareness and potential. Now, for many people, just hearing the term discipline brings up many feelings and connotations. Oh, we hate that term. But start with small steps. and you will turn around and discover that you have traveled a great distance. You are a soul, you are power, you are light, and you are love. Until we're together again, blessings. I send my love to you.